are an extraordinary collection of people here tonight.
And it's a wonderful compilation, kind of Tim's life with the old hippies and the new nerds, and it's just really been wonderful. I know Tim is sorry that he's not here. We've invited you all here. I hope that during the night you've enjoyed the pictures that we have and the letters that we have. All of these are representative pieces from Tim's archive. And we wanted to let you know, first of all, we want to let everyone know that this incredible work that Tim spent his life collecting, the history really of the psychedelic movement. His collection is so much more than just his work. It's really the letters and all of the studies and everything that happened during the 60s and 70s and the 80s and on into the 90s before his death. And what we're really trying to do tonight is maybe let you know that we're looking for a home for this work. Whether it's a private individual who would want to build a museum or keep it safe, or an institution that could house it, we really want to be able to place this collection in a safe place, and we're hoping that people here who might know someone who would be interested in purchasing it, or know an institution who might be interested in housing it, could come forward. And we're looking for partners in this. We're hoping for resources, for ideas, and anything that you can do. We also have a huge project going on that Lisa Ryan is heading. We're trying to digitize the archives. Tim is, he was always such a visionary, and he really wanted his archives to be online so that people would be able to see them all over the world. So, and we're looking also for help for this. We have, again, we want your ideas and your resources. And we've also set up a site online where people can go on and donate money. It's a really costly endeavor between the digitizing and all the metadata, and we're just looking for the community to come forward and help us, so that would be great. You've seen the stickers around, Timothy telling us again to question authority, to think for ourselves. And timothyleary.org, there's actually a page on there. If people are interested, they can go on and donate. So we do, as Galen said, have some incredible people here who were Tim's friends and co-workers, and just will take a minute to talk about the importance of this collection. But first I wanted to call on Ralph Metzner, who was one of Tim's colleagues at Harvard, and he and Ram Dass together have just recently finished a book, and I thought everyone would be interested in hearing Ralph talk a little bit about that. So here's Ralph Metzner.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I do think the work of the archives of Tim Leary is important. He's one of the most unusual and unique creative individuals of our time, and deserves to be studied. And the book that Ramdas and I started talking about 5 years ago about writing our version of the story, which Tim has told many times, of the Harvard projects and then the Millbrook project.
Raise the microphone.
And raise the microphone. Okay, how's that? Okay. Communication works better when the microphone is on and when you speak into it. So anyway, that book is, then we had it in a series of conversations, and then moderated by a psychiatrist friend of ours, Gary Bravo. And because, as you know, Ramdas's way of speaking is very halting, we didn't just, so we did a lot of editing, transcribing and editing and editing. And then we also found about a dozen contributions from other people who were participants in the project, because it was really a group project. And it starts with the Harvard experiments, and then briefly the project we had in Zihuatanejo, Mexico, in 2 summers, and then also in the Caribbean, and then a few years at Millbrook, until the time when all 3 of us went off in different directions after Millbrook. So it's about a 5-year period. and contributions by other people and lots of photographs that have never been seen. And I've just been talking to John Perry Barlow, and he's agreed to write the introduction, which is wonderful. And it's going to be published by Synergetic Press in Santa Fe, New Mexico, who also published the books by John Allen, one of the great 20th century great inventor geniuses who was the person behind the Biosphere project. And his autobiography has just been published, called Me and the Biosphere. So if you go to synergeticpress.com, you'll see announcements for both those books. And if you go to my website, which is greenearthfound.org, Green Earth Foundation, I publish all my own books myself, and we do the layout together with Regent Press. And I have a new series of short books, the first one of which is called Expansion of Consciousness, that might be of interest to a lot of you people, because it deals with the concept of expansion of consciousness in the history of Western alchemy, spiritual tradition, and the work of Carl Jung and Albert Hofmann. And the second part is the idea of collective consciousness expansion. And collective consciousness expansion is how I see the movements that what are sometimes called countercultural of the 60s. These countercultural movements were against established systems of power and discrimination and prejudice, like the civil rights movement, the Iranian war movement. But that was not the ultimate purpose, was not to be against, but it was for something. A different kind of way of living. See, the civil rights movement is not just against discrimination, it's for equality and equal opportunity, women's liberation. We call it consciousness raising, similar idea. So anyway, thank you for organizing all this, and support the archives, and have fun.
This archive is one of the great Rashamans ever, because it will attempt to encapsulate Timothy Leary, who was truly the most paradoxical and vexing and inspiring and maddening of human beings. He probably had more to do with introducing people to the spiritual matter than practically anybody who wasn't born in the desert someplace. And yet he was, for much of his life, a profoundly anti-spiritual man. He was a very loving man who introduced a lot of people to a greater depth of love, and his own family was kind of a ruin. I think it's really important to decode this guy. He was one of my closest friends. I knew him from '65 until he died, pretty continuously, and I loved him dearly. But it's important to take him apart and figure out who he really was, because you can learn a lot about America from learning a lot about Timothy Leary.